And light to everyone all over the world. Hope you and yours are doing well. I am Mayansa JT Muse, and I'm broadcasting live from three different Facebooks. My Sunday page, the Alabaster Divine, 222.9, the Mothership Facebook page, my Mayansa JT Muse Facebook page, and those of you in the Instagram world, Ayansa's Alabaster Divine. On the main station is still playing gospel tunes to commemorate your Sunday rest day. And we're doing this interview for tonight also to stream on every Sunday until the beginning of autumn equinox. Today, we're talking about Obatala and the Gospel. But before we get to that, we honor our ancestors in all things that we do. So I'm going to begin with the pouring of libation. Have my plant here. Omi tutu, onatutu, ile tutu. That means refresh my head, refresh my house, refresh my road. I pay homage to all ancestors who walked the roads of E-Ray before I did. Ashe. I pay libation to all of those who struggled and suffered and died for our freedom. Ashe. I pour libation. I pour libation to ascended masters, priests, shamans, and light workers. Ashe. I pour libation. Now on this part, I'm going to do something a little bit different before we move forward. Since we're in cyber world and this is a live stream, we can't exactly hear each other when we call each other's names, call our ancestors' names. So if you would like to pay libation to your ancestor, your special ancestor that you would like to call on for guidance, feel free to type their name into the comment section, and I'm just going to pour for a second. Ashe, 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 Ashe. It's very important that we pay homage and pour libations to our ancestors, because it is a way of keeping our wisdom and courage and everything that we had as a people alive, as we are embarking on times where we are recovering our stolen legacies. Our ancestors are guiding us back to this knowledge and this wisdom, and it's very important to pay homage to your ancestors in all that you do. No matter what craft you practice, there is an ancestor that did that before you, and it wouldn't hurt just to ask for a little bit of wisdom and assistance, because they're always ever there to guide us, because they walked this road before us. So before we go on, I'm going to share with you two of the distinguished ancestors of 222.9 the Mothership. One is my theater arts director, Professor Celie Turner, and the other is the community's own Baba Fana. Take a look.
Life is theater. Life is theater. Theater is life. Theater is life. Stay in character. Stay in character. Stay in ology. Ology. Go to Walmart and buy yourself a Baba Professor Celie Turner made his return from Orun to IEA on Sunday, October 4th, 1931. It was the second decan of Libra season, the kind of energy that is half Aquarian. Venus, Saturn, and Uranus were a trilogy in his cosmic design, with a tiny dash of the moon. She was waning in Cancer. In the African way of the stars, it was the season of the distance. He was a theater arts renaissance man, connoisseur extraordinaire, who broke many barriers and set many records for many black thespians. He was the founder of the Charles Gilpin Players. He was my professor during my appointed time at Prairie View A&M University, and I met him in the summer of 2002, before my first semester in college. I would have never dreamed of majoring in theater had it not been for him. He did a tenure in the Army before finding his path on the stage, and ironically, I forfeited my own military scholarship to follow my spirit to the Black Box in Hobart, Texas. Baba Seeley Turner is the father of many theater players, directors, writers, costume designers, scene and set engineers, light and sound engineers, dance troupes, and many more things pertaining to the world of the curtain. He achieved many accolades, including the Kennedy Center and many other state titles. He even has a performing arts center named for him, and through him, I learned to put together productions in days that would have otherwise taken weeks. However, I cannot say that theater is where we really bonded. In fact, there were times where I can honestly say we were thorns in each other's sides. We bonded when I experienced a glimpse into my supernatural gifts. It was a glimpse I wasn't ready for. I'll tell you about it. It was a...
Y'all like easy stuff? Good. Everybody say easy.
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 Now the first thing we're going to do in the easy stuff is we want you to look at the person closest to you and say, good day.
Good day.
Good day.
Good day.
I am here.
I'm here.
You are here.
You are here.
Good day.
Pamoja tutashi. Pamoja tutashi. Everybody say, everybody say, everybody say, everybody. Pamoja tutashi. Pamoja tutashi. Everybody say, everybody say, everybody say, everybody say. Orun opened the way, and Edward Vincent, better known as Baba Runyararo Fana, came to IEA, Earth, on Friday, December 26, 1947. The sun was in the first decan of Capricorn while the moon was full in Gemini. He was an embodiment of where cardinal earth meets mutable wind. The day vibrated on a 5, a number sacred to Yeye Oshun and a number sacred to the explorations of the highest beings of self. Self-expansion, if you will. A free spirit. A versatile, expressive being full of peace while striving to live in honor. And that can be a hard thing to do when the world is a very dark place. Our Baba Fana was a force that came to this world cosmically equipped to fulfill his divine purpose, ever smiling through it all and keeping the beat, the wisdom, the teachings, the fatherhood, and all the love going. He gave the Houston jazz scene, Greater Third Ward community events, many poets' performances, and yoga sessions a pulse. That's just to name a few. Who really knows how many events, how many places in the world, how many hearts have beat in sync with Baba Fana's drum? Every community happening I attended, he was there. From Project Row Houses to Shape Center, from the Shrine of the Black Madonna to Say Hi Youth and Fitness, everywhere else in between, he always had a smile, somewhat sinister, very colorful and flamboyant in his dress, while being reserved in character. He was always equally giving love to those who were and were not open to receive it. There was always a smile. There was always an open hand. There was always giving and love, no matter what might have been going on behind it. Baba Fana embodied community, fatherhood. Personally, I connected with Baba Fana through music, as many others have. I am honored to say that I've shared a few musical experiences with him, and he would always ask me if he would like for me to accompany him while I do my poetry. And I always thought that was really kind how he made everyone's poem into a song. He made other people's lectures into a song. He brought that tribal essence back. Because in the ancient way...
Y'all like easy stuff? Good. Everybody say easy.
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 All right, and we are back. I would like to introduce the guest of the hour because Sunday here on the Mothership we celebrate Obatala. Obatala's son, Obatala's son. This interview is very important to me because before I became Iyalosha, I was a Christian. And I saved Sundays for gospel on the Mothership, and we're going to discuss that today. And none other than Oluwo Obafemi. He's a world-renowned Babalawo. He is the founder of OIDSI, the Obafemi Institute for the Divine Universal Study of Ifa. He is a godfather to many, many Orishas, including one of my college colleagues, and many, many more things, along with being lineage of Dr. Oluwo Afolabi Ipega. This is someone who has had Obatala energy as a priest since 2004. So if everyone would, let's give a nice warm welcome to Oluwo Obafemi, Aboru Oboye Oborushisheo. How are you this evening?
I'm doing very well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. First, I would like to first just say thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview and to help me share a small milestone on a long road with this new project. So first, I want to say thank you very, very much.
You're more than welcome.
Okay, so let's get into the meat of this interview. Where do I start? Let's start with, what was your initial experience with the Orisha Obatala?
Oh, wow. Not knowing what it was, but going through an initiation and learning the characteristics, the attributes, and the process of Obatala, I realized Obatala is very real life.
Ashe.
I remember coming home from playing basketball down at the park, and I was hungry. And when it was refrigerator, I made me a butter sandwich.
A what?
A sandwich just put butter on.
Oh, like a syrup sandwich kind of thing?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
And I also remember eating some white rice, cooked rice.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had put on the plate some mashed potatoes, and a big glass of milk. And I watched television. And I remember my mom passing by and told me that I needed something green on my plate. Well, after I got to eat and watched TV a while, I went back to the refrigerator and took some of her. They used to have the shredded coconut come in a bag called Baker's shredded coconut. And I just went there and grabbed a bunch of the naked coconut. And I remember that because when I started learning the characteristics, the attributes, the functions of Obatala, I was like, whoa. Yeah, it's been around. But as far as my initiation, 2004, January 2004, it was a very humbling experience. I remember thinking that from what I heard, I was going to have this experience of levitating, walking through walls, it's going to be mystical, magical, all this stuff. Recently, I heard the reef was going to come down, I was something to come down from the ceiling, walk through the door. But it was funny because it was a very, very simple experience, not a lot of hope. So about a week later, I woke up one morning, actually a week after I left Igbo for Obatala. And I went to go watch this thing and noticed that there was this white spot in my head. Well, right at my forehead. And the first thing I thought about was how influence had got on me. And sure enough, literally overnight. And I was taking it still in Houston. And I drove over showed it to him, and all he could say, oh, it kissed him Obatala. And I was like, this is not a good thing. You had this vitiligo thing going on, all this stuff. And after about a week after that, I woke up literally a week later, and the white spot was gone, but this white hair, gray hair came literally overnight. And that was my experience. And by then, Baba Pagan had left history. And I called him, and of course he said the same thing. Yes, Obatala is loving you. And I guess from there on, you just kind of go through all these characteristics, attributes, functions, in alignment with your personality and your experiences.
Ashe.
So, getting initiated or getting crowned, with my experience with Oya, it's interesting you made the point about you were told the Orisha were going to come down. It wasn't a lot of hocus pocus, but it was like, for me, it was more like feeling something in me come out rather than something outside coming in. Is that more along the lines of what you're speaking?
It's probably later on, I got the white body there. But, between the drumming, songs, rituals, everything that went into it, Baba Pagan himself as a child of Obatala. So it put a little extra in there for me. But I personally felt the need to understand that something from the outside was coming in. But it wasn't until 2 weeks later that I recognized the transformation, the internal, began to take place. Because I remember going back to work and my whole intuitive self, my whole area, the throat where Obatala lives, my chest was open, and I began to see my coworkers. Like literally seeing their frames and bone structures and things like that. And it was kind of scary. And of course, that was the 8 months later is when I left America, which was given that information was given to me at my initiation that I was going to be active leaving corporate America.
So was it a bit of a culture shock to go back into society with this heightened ashe? Is that the part that made it scary?
Culture shock is a way of understanding if you're talking about corporate culture.
Right.
But transformation, the change, lines up with a lot about what we're looking for. I was given some advice per entering the place where the initiation was going to occur. And it registered about as much as I knew what it was. And so definitely I was open, open brain. Now, there were other guys that were there. And of course, their experience was a lot more glamorous than mine. But what I realized was that's Obatala. It's not the show, it's not the boom. It was more so the easiness, smoothness, and more so the embracing.
Ashe. Well, from what I've heard about Obatala and studied and the small experience I have had, it's like Obatala is the most patient of all the Orishas. Do you find that to be true, or is there more to that?
Well, yeah. I think there's a lot of truth to it. But it's sort of kind of presents itself just as Obatala grows more on you. When you look at the dynamic of Obatala, there is a path of Obatala very popular in the contemplate, and it's called Oshagyan.
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 Or
It is
Shagia?
the path of Obatala that's very self-righteous, condescending, know-it-all, and rightfully so. It speaks a lot about the brother in charge. The brother or sister that carries the shotgun. Very, very sharp, very clever,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell some very, very intellectual, intelligent jazz.
Mm-hmm.
But the self-righteousness, the condescending, the know-it-all catches up to. And then he transfers into Obalufon,
Okay.
which is the one who walks with the majestic stick. It is the elder Obatala. Obalufon.
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 Yes, I've heard of that road.
Yeah, the one who walks with the majestic stick. And it's the hunchback, it's the elder that attained the wisdom. The primary attributes of Obatala are patience, power, kindness, wisdom, compassion. Everyone's Obatala's children. The different shapes, sizes, colors, gifts, and capacities.
Okay, so is that what's meant when it said that Obatala claims all children until their Orisha heads are, determined by Ifa? Is that like what that means?
I've heard that before. I remember my Oluwo making some comments. He was the ultimate comedian.
Okay.
And he and I were sitting talking one day.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to my godbrother, which during the time of my initiation, I went through with 3 brothers, all Shango.
Oh boy.
Oh, it was loud, it was mystical, did you see that, But Bob Fagan said something to kind of ease it. He said, all these Shango people, they're all crazy.
Oh, that's my father.
and I remember him telling one of my godbrothers, as a ritual, you need to eat a pear, a cool pear to calm down sometimes. So, with that being said, I think one of the ways of looking at that statement is that how you call upon the different characteristics, the attributes, and functions of different researchers. I think Obatala is the one you call upon for the patience, the tolerance, having to definitely sit somewhere you don't want to sit, and be somewhere you don't want to be, and kind of helping out people, making that sacrifice. I think, whether you do Oshun, Yemaya, Ogun, Eshu, to sit patiently in the midst of a place you're ready to bounce and get about it. You have to both about it.
Okay. Ashe. And that feels more like it's tying into Obatala's color being pure white, he who is unstained, because all of us are striving for the white cloth, and that's what makes Obatala the king of the Orisha. Mm-hmm. Do you find this to be accurate? Yes?
King of the Orisha, father of the Orisha, even if you break it down from a sort of a scientific perspective, if the earth is the prism, and we say let there be light, when light hits the prism, it bursts into color. And so when you look at the 8-5 ratio, where Obatala being that light, and Oshun representing expansion, or contraction.
Okay.
Obatala expansion, Oshun representing contraction. You see where oftentimes you see Oshun yellow, sometimes it's traceable.
Right.
Or Shango, which deals a lot with the ancestral return. It deals a lot with the bones, and of course the red and white blood cells producing the bone. So Obatala needs both of them to bring that aspect of creation. And it's where Shaman gets this red and white. If you look at Ogun, who built the golden chain for Obatala the Gospel. Ogun is the blood of the heart. So Ogun's original color in Benin is red, blood red. So as you go down the line, you see where, although you could find a little bit of Orisha in every Orisha,
Right.
as you get into a Obatala concept of creation. The cloth represents the weaving, bringing things together. In Kemet, there is a deity called Kanun that sits at the potter's wheel and shapes all human beings in one. So as much as we can align Obatala with a star, it is also an aspect of Kanun. I can't remember the year of the Olympics, where the Olympics were in Brazil. At the end of the Olympics, they had this huge skating ring, and they brought out the traditional wear of the contemplative practitioner. You know, with the huge skirts. And as they move around, they talk about a history of weaving. And if you ever go to Salvador, Bahia, to the historical area, which is the compound temple of the Marcela de a very reverend woman who was a strong pioneer in the contemplative tradition. And when you go up the hill, you see the big sign from UNESCO establishing that, you know, their World Trade Center. They have areas where you go to the different temples. And there's one temple where they literally still weave cloth. And part of your tour or your visit is to purchase some of the cloth. I purchased some of the cloth. They literally, from the time they got there, as slaves, and up until this day, they still weave cloth for scarves, different traditional wear,
Yes.
and most importantly, altars for the Orishas. And I thought that was very interesting because people were watching the Olympics and just watching these people skating and not really knowing what they were actually watching, what they were saying.
The Orishas are hidden in plain sight.
Always.
Always. Well, I'm glad you mentioned temples and correlations, because now it's like we're going to slide a little deeper into the title of the interview, which is Obatala and the Gospel. Because many of us find our paths to Orisha from other spiritualities. Mine was Christianity. And it was actually the Orisha Obatala that played a part in helping me to feel safe in my conversion between Christianity and Ifa Orisa, because I had heard on several occasions that there were certain roads of Obatala that were representative of Yeshua Christos, or what, you know, is known as Jesus Christ. So what are your thoughts on that area, the church and the Orisha? Your thoughts?
Well, you know, the interesting thing about Yeshua, now known as Jesus, and it was a divine messenger, but at the same time being a messianic character, meaning a Messiah. Every Orisha carries that principle with it as a messenger, as a divine entity, connected to you, your spirit, your mind, and your body. When you think about the physical appearance of Yeshua, you when you look at the physical appearance, or you have seen certain physical appearance, there is this statuette. A lot of people see it as sort of a young character, as sort of a shining personality.
Mm-hmm.
And the other people that will look at it as more of a divine elder, a very wise person. That brings out attributes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, with Obatala being mainly correlated as the spirit of the wise old man, are there roads like that? There are younger, more overlooked that aren't as popular, or how does that work? Or I guess what I'm asking is
I'm sorry.
I was like, the spirit of Obatala is more popularly presented as the spirit of the wise old man, and certain roads that are correlated to Jesus Christ. I guess what I'm fishing for here is which road of Obatala do you think most closely represents Yeshua, or your thoughts on that?
Well, again, the dividing point of youth and maturity.
Mm-hmm.
What does that really look like? Some youth, 28 years of age, have been recognized as a spirit all their life. Babies are recognized as a spirit. By the time you get 28 years of age and 4 cycles of life, we start to see a lot of maturity of young people coming into play.
Mm-hmm.
Start building foundation. Some of them get married early,
Mm-hmm.
are able to hold down stability, be very productive and consistent, patient with their mates, spouses, and family. And by the time they're 30 years of age, they've established themselves very well.
Mm-hmm.
That is all about spirit. Regardless of what their name is, whether it's Shango or whether it's Oya, that can be looked upon as more of a byproduct to attain or manage what is considered an old spirit as a child. And now that you are the person of 28 years of age, you're able to function and build a foundation as well as someone in their late 30s and 40s.
Okay.
And so when you look at a character such as Jesus, that at age 33 is where he exited,
Mm-hmm.
but attained a lot of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I had read stories of the Bible, if there's a correlation to Obatala and Yeshua, it has a lot to do with those sayings of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
The different testimonies of the New Testament, what's allowed those Christians to have, it becomes more of a thing with wisdom after the trials and tribulations, 40 days in the wilderness, and being tested, things of that nature. The sacrifice, being sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
But yet still attained through transformation.
Okay. Because some time back in 2018, I did this mystic arts journal called the Izengoma, and the feature article of this journal was called "Led by Christ in the Crossroad." And I was pulling at the correlation or the differences between Obatala and HU, because I have to tell you, after I had received my initiation, I went back and read the Bible again, because I was still shaking that thinking that I was going to hell with a scholarship, just to be honest. So, and my ancestors said, take another look. And so when I started reading the Bible again, for me, the Orishas were just jumping out left and right. Like, for example, Noah's Ark, to me, is like, that was Yemajao Lokun Oshun with the spirit of the flood. You know, I had a conversation with another Oluwo about the Moses story. He says Moses was the original hoodoo man.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And then when I got down to the story of Christ, it felt like some kind of showdown with Eshu. Because, you know, in Christianity, they're always saying the devil, the devil, the devil. And even in my young days as a Christian, I never understood how that worked. And it used to frustrate me because I would be in church and people would always say, oh, the devil made me do it. And I'm like, so how does that work? Does this entity just fly into your body and have its way with you and depart, and then you're left there like, what did I do? Like, no. You were presented with a crossroad, a temptation. So going back, reading it with my understanding of Orisha, I can understand why so many people are saying, you know, or reiterating that Eshu is not the devil. He just knows how to dangle some bait to see how far you are in your spirit or in your ego. And so when I got to the story of Christ, it felt like some kind of showdown between the spirit and the ego. And I began to accept the story of Christ as more of a metaphysical meaning than someone who just cleans up all your sins for you so you can go to church on Sunday and charge it to the game.
You sound like the thing that got me put out of church.
Do tell. Oh yes, I was digging.
I think a lot of people may have heard me tell the story. Actually, this month, February 93. And when I, vacated, I was asked to leave. Based upon my teachings as a Sunday school teacher. And, I took everything to heart. I was given the path to teach Sunday school. My third church in 2 years. And I thought I found home. I came with good intentions. My cousin was part of the new member orientation, and she was there 3 times a week. And they were looking to divide the Sunday school class in more into the 2 different ages, 3 different ages, as opposed to 2 that they had. So I took the group that was 25 to 35. And we had fun. But, things moved out. People were asking questions. And one of the things that deacons, they would keep in, listen to you for a few minutes and then move on. Well, he began to stay in my Sunday school class a little bit longer. And then once the pastor came and listened for about 10 minutes, he got to left. So that Tuesday, and then when we were teaching, I was calling off. And we had that discussion about how and what I would be teaching. And basically, I think I was doing things different. Rather than just quote a scripture, I actually found the scripture.
Exactly.
Where did it come from? What scripture came through. And I also found where there were things about Jesus that were evil.
Exactly.
And, as things that go on, that's 2 things, for example. The pastor said we would say, and then he left out. Well, the senior deacon, who by the way, was a 33rd degree Grand Master.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something else I'll relate to what that means.
Okay.
He was a very nice gentleman. And he told me in short words that I couldn't teach that in Sunday school. And I said, well, we studied to show ourselves proof.
Exactly.
And how people were very like knowledge.
Yes.
And he shook his head just like this. He had a nice smile on his face. And he put his head on my shoulder. And I wasn't about Timmy, of course. I was Brother Steve.
Yes.
And put his hand on my shoulder, looked at me. He kind of smiled and said, Brother Steve, Christians are not good enough. They're here to believe. And that was my hand over my head. And, you know, I tell everybody the story. I went out to Herman Park here in Houston. Over by the, where it's been modeled now. But sort of at the base of the hill, still an exercise station. I sit over there. The old rose garden.
I remember the rose garden.
I had my Oprah.
Oh.
And I didn't do there's something wrong with me. So you talk about them. And so at that point, I never went back. So, you know, we're talking 1993. So, you know, I'm coming up on, this is 29 years that I left the church. And, you know, no part against Christmas, but I've been blessed since then. Because he actually did me a favor. He gave me a message. He said, what you're teaching is not for the church. It's what we call behind the church.
Yes.
And he directed me towards some brother. And I began this journey of self. I went to, I was going back and forth trying to black John over a period of 10 years, probably 8 to 10 years. I was networking, going through trying to black John, Islam, black people, a lot of Pan-African groups, and settled on an African historical group called Tafeti in the Houston area. During this period is where I learned to study. So the correlation from Kemet to Ifa was not very difficult because of cosmology and of course the sacred science. And learning how Africa didn't really have religion. What they had was culture, sacred science, and an understanding of wisdom and nature. And during that period of antiquity, a very, very strong connection and relationship with the divine.
Absolutely. And you know, I'm sorry, I go Baba?
Yeah.
I apologize because you hit a nerve. I apologize for cutting in. The divine feminine. That was the determining factor that made me walk. That was the tilt on the scale for Christianity and Ifa Orisa. Because when we were given the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, there's no womb. There is no woman.
It was an issue.
Come again?
It was an issue.
Initially, yes.
Yes.
But it wasn't what we were given in the mainstream because you see, I am actually a deacon's daughter. So I was raised in church. And ancestrally, I come from a lineage of Christian deacons and pastors. So you can imagine the WTHs heard across the country when I made this conversion. I caught that one, Baba. She did what?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. But it was a long time coming because my father is an ancestor. He's been an ancestor going on 22 years now. And no offense to Zodiac House 10, but Capricorns can be a little sinister when they want to do things to entertain themselves. With all due respect. I was raised by one, I know. And I believe to my heart and soul that my father used to send me to Sunday school classes to entertain himself. I really do. I really do. Because I read all the time. And for me, the Bible was just another book. So when I would get frustrated, my mischievous streak was when I would get upset with my parents, I would ask them complicated questions. So one day we're getting in the car after church, and I fold my arms, I say, Daddy, I'm a little girl. He says, Humbooch. I said, why the pastor need a Cadillac when Jesus walked? He turned around and looked at me so hard. And I'm just blinking at it. And why ain't nobody talking about Enoch's book? You told me it was in there. Why the Sunday school? So the Sunday school teacher was like side-eyeing my dad. And my dad was a deacon. He thought it was funny. I was frustrated because I'm seeing things behind the curtain, but I can't say anything because it's improper not to be in a little girl's place. So when I really would feel connected with God was through nature, especially when the wind was blowing. And I remember one day being parked. This was in college. I was parked outside the church. I was feeling really down and out, and I went in for prayer, but there was no one there to pray, but the ATM machine was in the hallway. And it was just kind of like, that does it. And I remember sitting in my car and I said, God, I love you. I believe in you. But I don't think you're in that building. So show me how this is supposed to be. And ever since then, it's been a drift, into Orisha. And that's pretty much the reason we're here today. So it's learning about Obatala was the part of me that helps me to be patient and forgiving. But do you think there's a such thing as turning too many cheeks when you're told to keep turning the other cheek?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Because it's like, okay, how many times am I supposed to do this? So what would you say are some differences between Yeshua Christos and the essence of Obatala?
Again, the idea of wanting to, see the world as one, and that all children are made from the same cloth. The other side of it is when you look at Genesis in the beginning.
Yes.
Which means the gene or genetic or istic, which is the process. Like osmosis, got Genesis, it's the process of the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to the revealing or the revelation, that is really, the whole thing is simply the drama of the human condition.
Yes.
The Bible is no more important than a book if you can't relate to yourself in the natural order. Bible can't do anything for you.
Right.
And I say that because when you speak of Obatala,
Mm-hmm.
and you speak of Yeshua, Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
there is a time when you can tell he was not wise, very immature.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, where? Can't really say, because those books are not always present in most Christians. They're in the lost book.
Yes.
Jesus had a lifestyle as a teenager in his 20s. But most Christians don't know that. They just follow the read of the New Testament word, which a lot are not in words because of those the time frame when those were written. With that being said, the maturity and the path you saw of a young person attaining quote unquote the good position does not come without that. And I don't look at, I hold testimony to the story of his crucifixion as opposed to him sacrificing that part of himself for transformation. Now that has a lot to do with y'all.
Please share.
But when you deal with death and transformation, you deal with death and changes. It is within the cycle.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you get the book of Revelation You got the 7 books, 7 churches, 7 seals, 7 dragons, 7 this, 7 that.
Mm-hmm.
The transformation change that occurs within the kingdom takes them from a certain level of their name to a title. Yeshua. That's the name. Christ is the title.
That I did not know.
The man was never born Jesus Christ. The man was born Yeshua ben Pandetta, which is, you can, in most Hebrew scriptures will tell you that. But to become a Christ is dealing with an elevation. And some of the divine teaching is where you start understanding the kingdom of heaven within you.
Mm-hmm.
As he wants to of myself, I can do nothing. But whatever the Father can do. Things like, you will do far greater things than me.
Yes.
That is the legacy, and that has to deal with the revering of ancestors, where your grandparents expected your parents to go further than them, and the expectation, or the should be expectation, that your parents hope that you will go further than they do.
Right.
It's the legacy. So when you get to when those scriptures were written, what culture, you understand the philosophical perspective and perception of those people that wrote it. It was not all wrong. It was not all Greek. It was written in other cultures and brought to a council. And one of the things that is heavily avoided is the knowledge of where oneself. So as we go through these changes in life, and we begin to elevate, is where I make the connection of Yeshua and Obatala. Of course, the word Obatala is king.
Yes.
And the many variations of Tala, light, as in Allah, or Ta, which means place, or king of dream. It's how you look at the different aspects. I think that it's important to understand, and this is something that I said I would speak about later, and that was, I was once told, and I did a little research back in the late 90s. I'm sure things have changed since then. But that 90% of all the churches were ran by Masons. And most of the Grand Master was the senior deacon. Now that's interesting.
It is.
Because it mimics the king or the pharaoh must always have a priest.
Yes.
And when you spoke about Moses and the Juju man.
Yes.
He too had a priest, which was Aaron.
Aaron was his priest.
And so as you go through life, you find out that most priests are the wives of men. Because in antiquity, a priest, in order to know himself and to help regulate society, or the masculine or propagating principle, was given permission by the woman, universally, esoterically. She created him to do the work that she was not initially designed to do. So a mason, or my son, or a mother's son, or the widow's son had to go out and discover the feminine aspect of nature. He had to study its environment, put it under his feet to do her work. And so this is why I say that was the divine feminine. So when you look at something like Ifa, which is all feminine, nature is feminine. We say Mother Nature. We don't say Father Nature. And Mother Nature is also Metu Nata, or Meta physical. We study the steam to see how the unseen work. And no man in his right mind can master how a woman operates. The best we can get close to is see how nature operates, and then bring that home.
Repeat that part again, please.
Men were sent out to study nature to see how a woman operates, and then we bring that back home. So young men would leave the home at 7 years of age and return 6 to 7 years later. And at that point of 13, at that point in history, young men were able to plant a seed because young women could take upon that seed. Now, that is also dealing with anatomy. And of course, you know, the maturity was also the role of the village, because there were elders that brought that culture along. That culture, of course, has deteriorated. And so forth. That's what we look upon as the divine feminine as well. So, as the patriarch comes in, then this is why you have these beautiful sisters. Most indigenous sisters are very feminine. The masculine principle may still be as head, but the idea to express the feminine and bring it back is where the patriarchal culture has dropped the ball. Because they don't bring it back. It stays with their ego in most cases. So that's very important, because Obatala is androgynous.
Ashe.
Because if it is creative, it must have both aspects equally. So that will probably never be on the Oprah show. That probably continue guarding room. And when people like to bring that up, I don't get into debate. Just follow the history of our ancestors. And our ancestors.
Ashe. Thank you for that. Thank you for that wisdom. You see, I broke out my pen and pad. So we have about, well, we'll let time be time. Would you like to share some thoughts, please, about your institute?
Oh, the institute.
Yes, the Obafemi Institute for the Divine and Universal Study of Ifa.
The beautiful organization. I guess the makings of it started before my little transition. I remember him saying that you needed to start your own. I was working with, a couple of guys brothers on community talks and stuff like that. And they're still with me. But the idea of moving forward, we just taught what we knew. We were still learning as much as I'm still learning now. But what we did, we created a model specifically for those Africans in America who were looking to re-embrace a traditional system. I don't follow the tradition of the Yoruba people 100%. Rightfully so. I'm not Yoruba. For some people who don't think they are, I am a descendant of the slave. And I have the right to recreate what my ancestors left behind. The Obafemi Institute for the Divine and Universal Study of Ifa is an institute of brothers and sisters, hopefully sharing a vision to leave a legacy for their families. We are different people from different backgrounds.
Yes.
But the one commonality is, and we're really trying to focus on it, it's the challenge, is to develop a constitutional healing
Mm-hmm.
from a lot of the issues that we individually go through. And believe it or not, we also have this thing about Ifa practitioners. Some of them may be better going back to church. They can't get that type of colonized religious mentality. Keeps them on lockdown.
Yes.
To be open to what spirit and the universe brings is very unique.
Very
and
surrendering.
have a great amount of unique brothers and sisters that are doing some amazing things in the healing process, the educational process. Our children's group is very large. We have an elders committee. We have a board of directors. We have a board of chiefs, titled individuals, and we have a conference every 2 years that hosts anywhere 150, 175 people that come together from all parts of the country and outside the country for a few days to workshops, the different aspects, characteristics of Ifa we celebrate. And we call it an institute because it's about learning. Our motto is for Bible. I don't like to make no punk ass free.
No who?
I don't like to make punk ass free.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know if I could say that.
No, we speaking freely. I just wasn't expecting that one.
Yeah, I really respect you know this stuff.
Yes.
If you were a child boy, I need you to hold it down and know what that means and know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
As a practitioner or a daughter of Yah, I would like you to know what that means under the umbrella of contemplate. What it means up under the and of course the Kemetic, the Hindu, and the Christian counterpart, because that's an expression of divine energy of the wind, rain, forest, animal, and most important transformation. As my godfather said, and also Dr. Wanda, one of the most understood. So you also have to look at what it really means to be whatever your religion is, and be able to talk about it, lecture about it,
Yes.
crown somebody's head, be able to perform rituals in the third law. So that's why I say things like, you gotta show up.
Yes. You can't just be in the costume or wearing a no.
Yeah, you might be dressed in a couple wearing their beads and all for the American unified accent. That don't mean anything to me.
Ashe.
Yeah, can you count your business?
I love it. I love how it's all inclusive, because our ancestors are so vast in different cultures, and they bring different things to different people. And we deal with what I like to call the Orisha police, that like to try to blow whistles on everything. But it's like, if a person wasn't meant to receive something, why did the ancestors in Orisha open the way for these things to happen?
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And just in the short time that I've been crowned 4 years, so I'm still a baby. And yes, but that was one of the things that was really strong, because my biggest frustration has been just what you said. All y'all are very misunderstood. So it's like, why would someone put all y'all on my head, Shango as my father, and expect me to be docile?
Well,
or
the other side of that, if it is misunderstood, then that means that part of every human being is misunderstood. So the best person to bring an understanding to misunderstood things is the one that's understood.
Misunderstood. So that's in, now let me write that note down. That's in my job description. Okay, so of course this is an interview about the radio station. So this is about music. I started the Mothership to preserve the old school, the genius music, as I would say. And Sundays is reserved for gospel, and it's also the day that observes Obatala. Now, from 7 to 9 every Sunday morning, I have a program called The Rising Bimbe, where I play 2 hours of Obatala and Orumala music every Sunday to kind of get the energy and the groove for that day. I have to ask this. What are some of your favorite gospel songs, if you have any? Yes, I'm going in the playlist.
Oh man, I gotta be honest. The first gospel song that I heard that I really enjoyed was Jesus is Loved by the Commodores.
Oh, I was just playing that song today. That song's in Sunday's rotation.
Yeah.
Mine was Dottie Peoples, Get Your House in Order. With no instruments, Miss Dottie Peoples, Get Your House in Order. With no instruments, just the stomping and singing.
Yeah.
Oh. Another one from you?
Back in the late 90s, Stomp by Kirk Franklin.
That's in rotation.
You know, I gotta be honest. When I was a kid growing up, I didn't like Orisas. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand like this Lord and Savior never smile. I didn't understand where it got to the point that people were happy, but also crying. I didn't understand. I'm gonna talk about it. It didn't make sense. But what I did like about our church was Vacation Bible School.
My favorite were music. Yes.
But you know, watching my mom, my aunt, my other aunt, preacher's wife, wearing those big hats with all the flowers, like they had a fruit
Oh,
bag.
yes.
Just how everything was presented. That was a very friendly greeting to walk in, but the dynamic and being a child, being a person that really listened, as I got older, I became, it's like I knew how to do the church. I always came in right for the sermon. I didn't care for the music. I thought most people really, overboard with the music. I understood the song, the beautiful voices, don't get me wrong. But it's like I know how to handle song. So I would come in, post announcements and things like that, and I would come in right when the pastor would come on. I was very attentive, took a lot of notes, and right before he delivered the big message or the solution per se, he went into this homiletic, feeling good, and it's like prayed upon the emotion. And to this day, I feel as though that's what the ball is being dropped in most churches. For me to actually deliver the final message to quote unquote, you say I'm gonna bring it home. In my mind, most of the time, it was never brought home. That was the emotional feel good that was brought home.
Endorphins.
And so I guess that's why when I had Sunday school class, not that I was trying to compensate, I remember having those conversations with people who felt like they didn't receive all the message. And knowing that I love history,
yes,
that's when I started dealing with the historical side of the Bible. And so a lot of that is what was not allowed.
My experience with church was a little different because I had to learn how to stop denying my own gifts and intuitive abilities. And it's like, I remember things like going to church. I was kind of flip-flop, like the opposite of you. I wanted to leave after the choir was done singing. Like after the choir was done, I didn't want to hear the pastor. Unless
I knew people like that. I knew people like that. They went for the music and after that, they went around.
I would do that in college, but see, when I did that when I was a child, I'd get a licking. You know, I couldn't. But you know, I would always wait until the sermon to put my finger up and go to the bathroom or something, because unless the pastor had a certain anointing, and to this day, I tell my mother and my grandmother, when you go to church, if you want to know if the pastor is truly anointed or called by the Spirit to do this work, watch the children.
Yeah.
If the children are laughing and playing and not paying him any attention, you might be spanking your child when your child is trying to tell you something. Because when I was little, because when I was little, when the Holy Spirit was in the room, the pastor never had a problem keeping my undivided attention. But those were very few and far in between. You know, I'd been to dozens of churches, lots of musicals, endless sermons. I can only think of 4 pastors that I believe were truly anointed out of the dozens and dozens that I had seen. I had to deal with a lot of energy in church. Like there were some people I didn't want hugging me. There were some people I did. I've seen people's carnal essence rear up in the middle of church and they run out. I've seen all kinds of things in church. But I just got tired of asking the question, where's God in all of this? You know, I would have elders would drop me clues here and there. And for being a young lady, church was really, it gave a good kind of rites of passage almost. Because there were I had other aunties pretty much that had that hand in my womanhood and laying the handkerchief over your knee and what to do when you get runs in your stockings and just little things like that. But when it was time, the essence of God I felt was missing. I feel you there. You know, when people would get all hooting, riled up. And I'm sitting here thinking something's wrong with me because I'm not catching on. You know, somebody need to catch on fire. I'm not on fire. You know, or am I? Am I already on fire and y'all just don't see the flame? You know, so it was a serious internal battle with me because going to church was not an option in my house. Like
same in mine, you know, there was no option. I think for a lot of people coming up in the 30 era, it wasn't an option. You know, once I got older and I really took upon studying the Bible, and that's when I'm making transformation. I still didn't really care much for all the music because, you know, people would run around the church, you know, inside and things like that. I never cared for that because, again, you talk about my personality. I come to learn.
Right.
Not that I'm against the music. I come to learn. And I didn't get what I was really looking for. And I think my higher self, God, if you would, knew that. And it opened the door on actually 2 different occasions. This is not your home.
Right.
And, you know, my honest feeling with studies, you know, Jesus never went to church.
No,
and it's God's son. So God don't do no church till we walk in there.
Ashe.
And it depends on what we bring with us. Because something else walking in with us too.
Oh yeah.
And that goes on in church as well.
A lot. A lot. And it was those things that were unraveling in my adolescent years. Like, I remember being really frustrated because, you know, when I grew up, adolescence for me was in a small country town. So when you're in a small country town and you're a teenager on the teenage social circle, two things matter in small country towns: where you go to school and where you go to church. And my pastor at the time made the front page of the Texarkana Gazette on some very carnal energy, if you take my meaning. And I remember going home and I'm holding the paper up. Cause, I mean, he's on the front page of a newspaper. Front page. I'm like, Mom, this is who you made me go to church to see. This is who you yelled at me to listen to. I know better than to do this, so why am I listening to him? Well, you gotta forgive him. Well, can I forgive myself while I'm at it? But talking like that, and especially a lot of Southern homes would make you, oh, you're a devil child. There's something wrong with you and I had such a serious wrestle with that, and that's what makes me thankful for this moment, that we can talk about this and bring clarity to many other people who are having this wrestle. So let me ask you this. Have you been back to any church ceremonies since becoming a priest?
I mean, you know, I've been for funerals, weddings, you know, what's interesting? I will say this is always fun. My best friend is an AME minister, and he's a Bible. And he has been kind of kicked around. He's trying to go to his heart.
Oh.
And he works with his brother, who's a head pastor, but he also works independently with different groups. And he and I have some of the deepest conversations about what he runs across in regards to Christians. But you know, when you really look at, and this is what he and I talking about, people don't always know what they're really looking for. And what I mean by Christianity in its inception is a very beautiful thing.
It is.
And that's why I don't really have a problem with Christianity. My problem is with most Christians. Because you're arrogant enough to be part of the mark of belief. You don't know the history of what you believe in. You're trying to convince me to buy a vacuum. You don't even know how to run. And maybe I'm more about my own character personality to learn. And again, I only appreciated Christianity when I began my studies with Ifa.
Ashe, me too.
Because the historical part of it I knew of, but the divinity of a system that's indigenous and natural order aligned itself with a lot of the Christian concepts, which is universal concept. It's just that even with Ifa, I don't process it. So when you're not going to do it, and you want me to bear witness to your belief, then I have a right to ask questions. But when you tell me you can't answer, we got names like that. Charlatans, con man, pimp. You're trying to sell me something, and you don't know how it works. And I have a universal right to defend myself.
Ashe.
And most of us should be operating along with intuitive, with intelligence. And that is the story when you talk about the devil. Because in the beginning, Satan or Set, oldest symbol was a donkey, an ass.
Wait, come again, please.
The concept before Dante's Inferno about hell and what the devil looked like. Hindsight, the devil was representation of intelligence, but without wisdom. So,
oh my God!
When you go into the biblical allegory of Christ riding into the new city, Jerusalem, on the back of an ass, representation of wisdom over intelligence. And see, that's different. You've heard your elders say, that boy that goes with an educated fool.
Oh yes.
Or they got some books, but they don't know how to survive in the street. So to attain both is wisdom. The dome becomes wise. Or the dome has mastered its wit. Or the wit, or the intuition, or the intuition. So the wisdom is based upon the intuitive self, and then intellect. It works together. Because some things you don't know, you just got to trust what you feel.
Ashe, yes.
And that's what issue represents. Crossroads. So issue ain't government. Just government without fear and truth.
Absolutely, yes.
At the back of your head. That's why you say I feel my first mind.
Your first mind is your God mind.
Correct.
And I had an example I used to give with that when you would talk about the crossroads. Because I'll be like, for most people, the cross looks like this, right? But there's a science behind the meaning of this line and the meaning of this line. This line doesn't move. But this determines how much of your intellect, wisdom, how far up are you listening to your spirit, then it's up here, spirit over flesh. But when it becomes a satanic cross, it's down here. You see what I'm saying? And then there are some faiths where the cross is right in the middle, but it's still the cross, if that makes sense. But if you turn it this way, you got a crossroad. Something like this is a very common, like a SU teaching, if that makes sense. But really, glad we're talking about this, because one of the factors that drove me away from the church was the lack of accountability. She was not responsible. He just sets the stage to see where you are. Do you remember the film The Devil's Advocate with Al Pacino and mine too? Yes, because it was, and I watched that when I was a child, and I never will forget when Al Pacino's character, it was after all Hades had broken loose and the wife killed some other. Yes, and he says, "I'm no puppeteer, Kevin. I just set the stage. You pull your own strings."
Yep.
And then he went back.
He said, "I told you we could walk away." You said, "No, you wanted to win." I said, "Kevin, we can let it go." But you said, "No, let's just go."
Yes. And he said, "What do you do?" So you saw the pictures. You knew she was guilty. And you put that lying boop on the stand. You knew she was lying. But see, many of us don't like to be accountable for our own temptations of things. And that's how we work opposite, like in my understanding of Orisha, that's how we work opposite of striving for the white cloth or striving for the wisdom. Because when we think we know, we don't trust that which is greater and stronger and more intelligent than us. And I think that's really dangerous during this time, because so many people are dependent on their wisdom. I know. I did my research. And I'm like, well, when your spirit knows what it knows, you don't have to research for anything.
Or debate.
Or can you provide factual evidence? And I'm just like, oh. But there are even scriptures where the essence of Yeshua said in the red, as you said, be as wise as a serpent, but as harmless as a dove. Translate, know the game, but don't play it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or to these I have given the secrets to the realms of the heavens, and to these it hath not been given. What are your thoughts on that scripture?
Oh, you really want my thoughts on
Please?
that scripture?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Say that again.
To these I have given the secrets to the realms of the heavens, and to these it hath not been given.
Correct. Jesus also said to his disciples, the ones of the discipline, the adept, the initiate, the owl, keepers of the secret. He says, unto you I shall reveal all the mysteries of God in heaven, but unto them I'll speak in parables.
Oh, yes, I forgot about that
And
one.
the thing is, what is a parable? Para means part of it, like a paragraph. It ain't the book, but it's part of it. And so, no jab. But this is what I told the person who tried to convince me that TDJ can save people. I said TDJ speaks in parable. Can't give you the truth. Give you part of the truth. Truth holds within you. And there's a process to that truth. That's the reason why Jesus said, I will teach you the initiate, but not the uninitiated.
Ouch.
See, that's just being a priest.
Yes.
I ain't talking about captain. I'm talking about someone who is coming to the knowledge and the wisdom and the humility of the natural world. Now, nature is our teacher. But you have to understand certain things. A tree branch, I can hold it in my hand. Give it with force, and its size, it can knock me and kill you. I can put water in a teaspoon, but enough of it can drown me, or wash away my home. A wind can come on a summer evening and bring me the cool. Too much of it can take me home. Nature and man and the spirit work and walk in equilibrium. And so, until you understand, until people understand, a book like the Holy Bible, the Sun book, not the book of the sun, the Sun book. And so, the sun in the sky is man, first God. Because without the sun, you ain't gonna be here. You ain't gonna eat. The fire, the light, the energy that comes from it. It is our God. The darkness and our only light in the darkness is our mother. She's moody. And so when you begin to just understand simple, simplistic, natural things, you follow in order. But when you begin to allow ego to take precedent, emotions take precedent, you align yourself with something else. And the reason why I say that is because when Jesus is on the disciples, go into the new city, there you shall make a barren pitcher of water. Ye then will know many times. The man bearing pitcher of water
is a query.
Is a solid query. That is the end of time. We're not in the last days. Last days of the age.
I was just
2,160 years.
Yes.
Times 12 is called a great year. 12 cycles, which is the 12 houses, which is Ezekiel's wheel. In my father's house, there are many mansions. When you get into the ages and you multiply by 12, it comes out to 25,432, something like that, which is also the circumference of the earth.
I say.
So see, nature ain't no punk.
At all.
So this is what you would have to know you. So if you go into Kemet and you interpret some of the things on the wall, it says the first system of salvation is the knowledge of oneself. You can't know yourself. You can't know God till you know yourself. You can't even love God till you love your neighbor.
That's right.
So simple principle.
Simple.
Yes.
And that's where it's like important to choose your mentors wisely. Because one thing I said to myself on this Orisha journey, I said I have no interest in learning quadratic equations from someone who hasn't mastered basic timetables.
There you go.
You know, if you're not doing something as simple as practicing good character, I don't need to learn anything else from you. Because that's the main road. Striving for Iwapele is the main road. If you're not on that road, I don't know if you qualified to lead me.
Well, everything about where you're at. When you leave your house and go to your mother and father expect you to act a certain.
Yes.
You know, that's certain things you know you do. At home, always.
Right.
But now, if you want to do whatever you want to do, you just need you. And I have that right. And if you talk about me, then I'll cancel culture from you.
Everyone's trying to pass their opinion as law and no one holds a gavel.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any last thoughts you'd like to share before we close this interview out? Or conversation, should I say?
Well, yeah, I know. When we're looking at quote-unquote system, I think it's important for people to understand one simple thing. That the best system is always going to be the system that works best for you. And the only way you do that is to study and know yourself. Start by asking the questions. Why did I choose that? Why did I choose this? You know, why am I so attracted to this? Why am I so totally away by that? It's not a judgment, it's an observation. And that's the only thing that a natural universe, a mother, would want a child to know. Baby, you don't know who it is. And I think if people embrace that, a lot of things will be better. Because everybody knows if Obatala was the world would be better.
I love it. I say, because I read in a book, one of the little booklets. I think I got it right here. So I've been educating myself. Yes, it's this one. It's one of the first Obatala books I've ever read.
Yeah.
And in this book, it reveals that roads of Obatala all hold a prototype of the other 6 main Orisha. So in a sense, okay, I can take that.
That's another booklet. Follow Kumpa speaks of that as well. But one of my first books.
This one?
One of the first books that I had was Veneration of Obatala by Chief Elboy. A lot of information there about Obatala.
What book is this?
It's called Inventions of Obatala.
Inventions?
Yeah, hold on for a second.
Okay. Well, Oluwo Obafemi. Oh, there he is.
See?
Oh,
That's a very old book.
I see.
That's when Oluwo was a young man. He's out of our now.
Ah, Kinka Mache. And what's the author?
Chief Priest Yemi Ellie.
Oh, that's him when he was young?
That him was a young man.
Wow, I have his Iwure book.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I know who that is. Ah, Shay.
That's the
Yes. Well, Baba, I would like to thank you so much for your time and for your wisdom and for kicking off the 1 of 7 part series to celebrate the Mothership's 1 year on the air.
That's right.
Thank you for the priestess that will be joining me tomorrow for Yemaja. Yes, Iya Dami Lola is going to be on tomorrow night where we talk about, Yemaja and the mothers of song. Because on the Mothership, today, every Sunday is Obatala's day. So you get all Obatala energy, gospel and smooth jazz, and of course wisdom like this, because I'm going to run this interview every Sunday until March 21st. And then I'll put it back up again for Capricorn season.
Yes.
So you get every Sunday in Capricorn season at 7 p.m. Ashe. And so tomorrow night it will be Iya Dami Lola. And that's the Yemaja, Mothers of the Moon. So Monday's rotation has all the mothers of music. Aretha, Patty, Shaka, all the mothers.
Wow.
Miss Nancy Wilson, Sarah Vaughan. The mothers that the babies these days might not know about.
Right.
Yes, so that's what's going to be on. Yes, and emotional healing and things like that. And it's interesting that your part is, this interview is actually part 7. So it plays right into the biblical teaching that the last shall be first.
There you go.
Because Obatala is in the 7 days of the week, Sunday is the 7th day according to the biblical creation. And so how this all came about, it's like, well, this is first. Yours came first. And interestingly, just doing some quick quasars on the day, it's no wonder that Eshu came up in this interview, because today is 3. Today's numerology vibrates on a 3. So that's Obatala and Eshu energy. We're in the 3rd decan of Aquarius season, which is half Gemini. There's Mercury, Eshu, there he is again. And the moon is waxing tonight in Cancer. And that deals with emotional healing. And Cancer is my rising sign. So we have all these things aligned with the Mothership. And I would just like to thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing your wisdom. And just let me know, because I would like to learn more about the Obafemi Institute for the Divine Universal Study of Ifa. How can I learn more about that? Do I need to post your website under the comments?
That was the best way. Post the website, and there's a lot of information about the organization.
Okay. So once we end this, then I'll make sure when it goes up on YouTube, I'll make sure I post the link under there.
All right.
Thank you so very much. And thank you all out there for listening. I am Mayansa JT Muse, broadcasting live from Facebook, 222.9 The Mothership Facebook, the Alabaster Divine Sunday blog channel, along with you guys in Instagram world, Ayansa's Alabaster Divine, all things pure, white, and Obatala energy every Sunday. So, Ashe. So thank you and good night.